Boa tarde, mundo. It's the afternoon in Portugal today. We're having a bit of a reflective afternoon, sitting at home, just thinking about all the things that have come together to make this life in Portugal come about, all the decisions we had to make and steps we had to go through to get here, how it feels now, which is good, generally. Without a doubt, we definitely feel like this was the right path for us. A lot of years and a lot of thought have gone into how we get to this stage where we can be in a position to be close enough to the UK but still in a hot country, able to be at home for when baby arrives. It's starting to get to that point now where we're feeling like we can see the goal at the end of the path, which is great. If any of you have been following us since Thailand, you'll know that there was a time when we were a bit lost and we didn't know exactly what we wanted, running from things, hiding from things. There was a lot of growing up to do, a lot of learning to do in that time period, and so many things happened, so many things experienced that have led to how we feel about life today, how we feel about ourselves, growth, how we've learned things, all kinds of things. But right now, near the end of that path, looking at the goal where we can be together to raise a child, it's getting clearer, and that makes us happy. When we first started on YouTube making videos and making blogs about expat life, it was more about how to help other people leave the UK or leave America or leave anywhere and try something different. It was just about information. The emotional side of it we kept a little bit more repressed. There were also some reasons why we couldn't share everything we felt about living in Southeast Asia, living in Thailand, because of the laws. So it kind of forced us to restrict everything we talked about down to the positives and the good sides and just the things that we loved about life, and we skimmed over or we just hinted at anything that was not going so well because it was the law there. When we started making daily videos, changed a lot. We'd been away from people that we know, family and friends and relatives and everybody for a while, almost 3.5 years at that point, and people had forgotten what we were really like. People hadn't seen us grow because they were only there for holidays, they were only there for short visits, and all the things that had gone into making all the tough decisions that we had to make to go from one part of a country to another, trying to survive in such a foreign environment that we chose. All of these things we obviously chose to do. They didn't get seen because we couldn't, people weren't there. So the daily videos helped people to kind of get an insight into a different element of expat life, of what it was like for us as a perhaps not so extrovert couple, trying our best to make the best out of life with what we'd chosen to do. The responses that we got from that were really good and made us feel more confident that the things that we'd decided were correct, or correct for us anyway. And so we didn't stop. We kept daily vlogging, we kept making more and more videos about what it was really like for us, the bad times as well as the good times, but at the same time trying to protect certain elements of ourselves and the people around us. To do that, we couldn't show certain things, we didn't film certain people without certain permissions, or we only put into the final videos what we felt was safe enough to share for each individual person's circumstances, which I think is the right thing to do, to be honest. Fast forward to now, we are in this beautiful house, beautiful garden in Portugal. It's a completely new country for us. We've just moved, we haven't been here for long, and a lot of the things and fears and thoughts that have been floating around in our heads leading up to this are now realities, and we're dealing with them bit by bit, and we're learning. And I think this is the point I'm trying to come to about being in this type of lifestyle now, especially with the added element of YouTube being involved into it and a daily video diary. A little while back we put up a video called Let's Get Real. It was a way for us to kind of round up and explain what happened when we went through the transition between Thailand through England with our family and friends and then onwards to Portugal, where we are now, with a baby on the way, with a birth very imminent. And a lot of thought went into how we can share our experience without compromising our relationship with people or without hurting anybody, without making accusations or anything like that. It was more about how we rounded up and dealt with a situation that led us to where we are today. That was the original intention, and that's what we thought when we put it online. One thing that we didn't think would possibly happen, and if we did think of this, we perhaps would never have put it online, was that because we were trying to protect the names and details of the people we were talking about, when the subject matter of the video, i.e. the people involved, were watching it, nobody knew who or what we were referring to at that particular time. So it led to a lot of misunderstandings again, which we did not expect was going to happen, and we were very confused at the time. After having some long conversations with the people that we love, we really thought more about what happens when you put something like this online. It's not possible for you to imagine that a possible 24,000 subscribers are going to have the same perception of a message that you think is clear. It's not. Somebody explained to me that if you watch a film and you only remember one specific part of that film, even though you enjoyed the whole thing, or you may get to the end of a film that you hated, but again, you only remember the specific bit that hit you. That's what happened with these videos, and it was something we did not expect at all. There was a massive positive reaction. We got loads of emails and messages from people who are on the same path as us from all different age groups, saying how it changed their lives in certain ways. It made them make really serious positive changes in their world. But we also stepped on some toes that we did not see coming, and that came as a bit of a surprise. It really did, and it kind of made me feel a little bit more aware that there is absolutely no way in this world to get a clear and consistent message to everybody at one time. It just doesn't work. What we thought was going to be a clear way for us to kind of help other people in a similar situation to understand what could possibly happen when you leave your homeland and everybody who loves you and cares about you and go to another country to live and make a lot of unconventional decisions about your own life, ended up causing a bit of a mass confusion. And when I was reading through some of the comments that were being said about us and how we appeared that we were perhaps being a bit ungrateful for everything that was done for us in the UK and stuff like that, it was a bit of a shock to us both. And I spent a couple of hours this morning writing a message to all the people that commented in that particular video about explaining this, basically, and trying to kind of, again, let people know that it's not the intention. We really would never have thought to put something online that was going to cause hurt. We're not those kind of people. I've learned a lot about expat life in the last 5 years. I didn't realise how much there was to learn about this. I thought it was a case of if you decide to go and live in another country, then people will just be like, cool, go do what you want to do, and you'd have the life that you have, and whatever happens, happens. These elements, these relationship complications, didn't factor in before we left the country. And now that I've seen firsthand what can happen, it explains a lot about why many people do decide to become expats in the first place. Generally, when two people or a family leaves their home country to go and live in another country, it's going to be considered that you are running away. And most of the people that you do meet when you are in the same environment as them, other expats, there is always an element of something that they're running from. It's either government, or it's a financial situation, or it's a new start, or there's always a reason for people to want to uproot and go to a completely different environment. And when you're around those people, you connect with them in ways that you won't connect with the people you leave behind, because they are still happy enough with their situation to not want this. And those things you pick up as you go along. The major issue here, I think, with us was that we hadn't spent as much time back in the UK since we'd left. We'd done 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but never any longer than that. And after doing that, it became clear that there was a very big difference between what we thought, everyone thought about everything that we were doing, and the reality of it. So trying to protect the interests of the people we care about, but at the same time trying to share information like this is again a massive learning curve for us. And perhaps we made a mistake in our judgment of perception, and we genuinely didn't mean to do that. I can tell you that for a fact. We're not those kind of people. We're not confrontational, we're not hateful, ungrateful, or spiteful, anything like that. And I really hope that it didn't come across that way, because generally all we ever really try to do is keep our story going. We really just want to share this information for ourselves down the line, and also if anybody in the public can learn from this journey in any way that would help them to make their own changes along the same lines if they choose, that would be amazing. But you do hit some hurdles along the way, and that is what we've worked out about this. So sitting here under this tree by this bread oven in the heat in September in Portugal, for me and for Sasha, this is amazing. This is exactly the direction we want to be heading in. Whatever has happened, we still know that we've made the right decision for ourselves to be in this situation right now. We can also admit that we do have a lot to learn about everything that is going to happen in the next few weeks. We're about to have a baby, and honestly, we're both afraid. We're a bit scared, and we can't deny that. Everything is about to change. It's a choice that we made. It's what we want. But we are trying to prepare for that in our own way. We think it's the meaning of life in our situation. And just like everyone else in the world, we don't know what's right and what is wrong. Perhaps there is never a real right and wrong. You just have to keep walking and moving forward with the things that make you feel good, make you feel happy. And that's what we're going to continue to do. So that's what today's video is basically all going to be about. Just this. I'm not going to complicate it with anything else. I'm just going to leave this message here. Do the things that make you happy, but at the same time, just think about how your actions affect everybody else around you. That's what I think is important to take from this. So I'm going to end this video right here. I hope you got something from this in some way, and we will see you when we make the next video. It might be tomorrow, it might be a few days, I'm not sure. So I'm going to say goodbye now.